Cougar fans, welcome to the Week 3 edition of Women's Soccer Coaches Weekly. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. Well, let's recap your week. You fell to Elmhurst, you fell to Dubuque. I want to talk about those games. Shut out in both those games, unfortunately. Can you talk about, was it a defensive strategy or just not enough offensive performance? What kind of went into those games?
Yeah, reflecting on Elmhurst, I told the team after the game, I was like, that was probably one of our better performances where the score line doesn't reflect on how the game go. Got a lot of compliments from the opposing coach. Still a young team and figuring things out. The first goal came down to just like compounding our errors. We made one error, and then instead of players, problem solving, we start to, I've been saying, inventing decisions, and which led to the first goal. And then the momentum kind of got killed in the second half when they awarded them a PK. So at that point, we're still trying to get into the game, and again, we didn't capitalize on our opportunities and weren't able to get back into it with Elmhurst. But again, I thought that was a good performance for the team. They showed that they're starting to apply the things that they've been working on and how they're going to create those chances. Versus Dubuque, we just, in a nutshell, we didn't show up in the first half, which that's where they got the momentum. Dubuque, they're playing at home, and they're a very, very talented team. They play a certain style, and they're efficient with it. And we just, instead of trying to play our game, we tried to match their intensity, which didn't play into our favor. The second half, we played much better, and again, we gave up a goal off of a corner kick. But for those two performances, again, I don't like the results, but I like the progress that we're having.
And you said, especially with a young team, like you'd like to see that progression as the year goes on. And it's still such, an early part in the season. Can you talk about maybe one or two of those younger players, the freshmen, that have come in and stepped up in terms of minutes played and contributing to the team's overall success?
Yeah, already I can talk about a player in each of the lines. So in the back line, Wheelock is doing really well at, stepping up as a outside back and as a center back. Traditionally, center backs, you want to develop them, especially at the collegiate game. And she's, been very coachable, and she plays with a great intensity, great IQ, and, she's been helping us, establish our defensive balance. Mia Hiramaya in the center mid, she's has really changed the way we build. She's a traditional holding mid that's comfortable with the ball at tight spaces, and she's been a big facilitator of how we want to play the game, switching the field, helping us start the attack. And then finally, Natalie Flores out as a forward. She's on her, I'm trusting her and giving her kind of like the green light to trust her instincts, and she's very attack-minded, goes forward a lot, and beats a lot of defenders. Now it's just linking that, putting that all together so that we can see the end product. She's creating opportunities. Now we just got to see the assists and goals. But overall, all three of them are contributing to that, progress that we're seeing.
So this upcoming Sunday, you're going to get to travel to St. Ambrose and partake in a reserve game, I guess is what you call that. So what does that mean for the program to be able to get extra minutes for a lot of your squad that maybe is not going to play in a typical varsity game, but is going to have the opportunity to show what they can do and get comfortable at the college speed in an opportunity like that? Yeah,
great question. I wanted to take that as an opportunity to your point, give players to get more minutes, help them with fitness, help them with, game strategies, tactics, and overall just touches on the ball. I think within the NCAA rules, if we can use those opportunities, I think it gives us, it can set us up for success in the near future. So I don't view it as a reserve game. I view it as maybe a mid-season scrimmage. I do more than likely will travel the majority of the team for support aspects, but not everyone will play. And, you know, we just treat it as a normal game to allow us to continue to grow.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this Saturday. You're going to have another chance to go out and compete with your team against Great Lakes. So that's going to be at 11 o'clock here in River Forest. What do you got to do to come away with a win?
I mean, in a nutshell, we got to protect our home field. We're 3-0 at home. We're 0-3 away, so that's something to play for. Establish that we're a tough team to beat at home. You know, we train on this turf. And our sweat and tears have, you know, been here. So I think it's important to go out with just intensity. And then again, if we continue to progress, I do feel every game that we played, we're starting to see better images. And now it's, again, as we approach conference after this week, is we want to be playing our best soccer. So the hope is that we end up with a good result, and Great Lake Christian will be a competitive match, and but I'm confident that if we show up at our best, we can control the game.
Well, I look forward to watching that play out on Saturday before we go to battle as well. So for more information on CUC women's soccer, head to cucougars.com. Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Roll Cougs.
Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome to a beautiful early day here at Concordia Stadium, right here in River Forest, for some Cougar women's soccer. Concordia, Chicago, kicking off a packed day of athletics right here with the Cougar women's soccer team taking on the visiting Great Lakes Christian College Grand Crusaders out of Michigan. Both of these teams coming off of losses. In which they were shut out. Cougars coming off a 2-0 loss at the University of Dubuque in Iowa. Over on Great Lakes End. This is a team that is a powerhouse for their conference, the NCCAA. But they are 3-1-3 on the year with 1 loss, 2 draws. Coming off their first loss of the season at Illinois College this past Thursday. Looking to get back in the win column here at Concordia, Chicago. So is CUC. Now, both these teams with high hopes for this year. Great Lakes Christian College, a team hoping to get back to the Nationals for the NCCAA. The Cougars, a team that's hoping to get further into the win column and continue to build their way to becoming a contender within the NAC. I'm Jonathan Shear with the Cougar Sports Network, here with Dave Deimling, and both these teams coming in today looking to get back into the win column. How do you think these two teams match up against each other, Dave?
I think it's going to be a great day overall for soccer. It's going to be a very interesting situation with a huge offensive powerhouse in the GLCC and then a more defensive style of play for the CUC home team right here. So we're going to have to see how each team performs, whether they try to play to their own strengths or more so try to focus on their opponent's weaknesses. So we'll see how that looks overall today.
Absolutely. Great Lakes Christian College, a team that thrives on their offense, not necessarily putting up obscene numbers with their offense so far this season, but putting up good numbers, scoring close to 2 goals per game. They have a great shot on goal percentage, 73% of their shots going on target this year. You flip that over to the Cougars end, however, this is an offense that really has struggled this year. As we get underway here in River Forest, Great Lakes Christian College, they'll have possession to start with, and they'll take a slow possession starting from the midfield here, working their way downfield with some short passes. And both these teams content to take the short passes that are available to them. And both teams really struggling to get out of that midfield area right now, but it's the Cougars who have some space down the sideline. Natalie Flores now cutting into the middle of the field, tries to play a ball in to Ortega Vasquez and is unable to do so.
Yeah, kind of looking like a little bit of bend, don't break defense right there from the Crusaders, just kind of letting them get however deep they want, and then as soon as they just tighten up real quick.
Absolutely is. That's a cross in with no one really there for the Great Lakes Christian College Crusaders, and it'll be Brooke Sheriff, the keeper for Concordia Chicago, who's the first keeper to touch the ball today. Brooke Sheriff has a Player of the Week honor under her belt for this season within the NAC. Took that in the first season for pitching a shutout performance in the season in the Cougars' home opener against Spalding University back on the 1st of September.
Yeah, that was a big match for her after a rocky start. She got banged up against Augustana early, but then had 10 saves in that Spalding match.
That's going to be out of bounds on the far sideline. Cougars offense doing a good job of balancing out the pressure that the Crusaders are applying so far. Cougars able to keep the ball on the Crusaders side of the field for the most part, but an errant first touch right there sends it right back the way of GLCC.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting today how the Crusaders kind of show off how they perform compared to the Cougars, considering the Crusaders kind of have a little bit more experience overall. They got their keeper, who was a former All-American, was a part of the national championship team they won a few years back. It's going to be kind of an interesting thing to see what the experience looks like versus kind of the youthful exuberance that the Cougars have on the field today.
That's a long ball in towards the box. And we played out by the Cougars. Allie Brown on the near side plays that one in. That's going for Abby Jones. Now bringing that up the near side is El Wheelock. Plays it into Allie Brown. Cougars content to find the space. Izzy Fairless with some space in the middle of the field. Back over to Brown, and the Cougars slowly move it working upfield here. Able to find some good passing lanes around this Great Lakes Christian College defense. And Flores able to work her way into the box, but unable to get a strong touch on the goal. That's going to be the Cougars' first shot on goal, however. First shot on goal for either team, and that's going to be cleared out by Malia Fry, keeper for the Crusaders.
It's kind of interesting to see how the Crusaders perform on the defensive side when you look at it. They're kind of allowing the Cougars to get pretty deep inside their third of the territory.
Yeah, this Crusaders team is not a defense or an offense really that plays press. They don't press up on the Cougars offense or their defense. They're content to sit back, like you said, Dave, watch where the Cougars go, try and jump on those passing lanes, really try and create rather than trying to disrupt the Cougars. But that's working very well for the Cougars so far. The Cougars are making a great job of taking advantage of the space that's left to them by the Crusaders as Flores loses possession on the near side right here. Allie Brown lays it off to Flores on the near sideline. Back to Brown. Back to Flores. Good give and go right there. Flores trying to get there in the corner, and that'll be knocked out of bounds by,
I believe that was
Jessica Hecky.
yes.
Played into Moran Cruz. Into the box, and that'll be snatched out of the air by Fry. Another shot from the Cougars. That's 2 shots on the day so far for the CUC team that has only averaged 5.8 shots per game on the season. This team's struggle on the season as a whole has been offensive production. In every single one of their losses so far this season, they've been shut out. But so far in this game, they've done a great job of applying offensive pressure and getting the ball into the box and forcing the Crusaders' defense to make plays.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that Coach Garza has been kind of preaching a little bit more as we get deeper into the season, is just kind of establish that aggressive, strong defense that they had. And now that he's kind of been here, this is his 3rd season, he's now kind of able to implement more and more strategies overall on the offensive side. So you're going to start seeing as the season goes on and on that we're going to probably start to develop a little stronger on the offensive side.
Absolutely. Free kick in the middle of the field here for the Great Lakes Christian College Crusaders. Team in black with white lettering moving left on your screen. Taking that kick will be Jaya Johnson from midfield. Exactly, from midfield. I get played right up towards the top of the box, and that's going to be cleared out by Mia Hirayama for the Cougars.
Yeah, that's another one of those star-studded freshmen that the Cougars are having play a lot of minutes this season. Got very interesting pipeline that Coach Garza's got. He was able to recruit her all the way from Hawaii.
Absolutely. That's especially for a D3 school in Chicago. That's not a hometown you see for many recruits, but you mentioned the star-studded freshman of this team. That's something that Coach Garza has really done a great job with constructing this roster around, is he has youth on this team. He has these star-studded freshmen, like you mentioned, but there's also a very strong veteran presence as well. It's not loaded up with young players or older players. It's a fair balance for this Cougars team, and he's hoping to take advantage of that this season.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that will also be setting him up for the future, too, is you kind of have that experience to where you can teach the youth, show them how it's done, what the collegiate athletics are all about. But then you also kind of have the younger athletes, that are able to kind of provide the excitement and provide that back to the game for the older people that have been around the block for a little bit.
Absolutely. Now the Crusaders threatening down in their attacking third. I mean, thrown in by Numeric. Loose ball, middle of the field, and that's going to get taken by Hirayama. Lays it off to Flores, who sends that to the middle field. Brown's going to be unable to get there.
Just missed, but a really good thought right there by Flores.
Those are the passes you want, those through balls. Cougars weren't able to take advantage of a fast break opportunity. Now the Crusaders flipping the field. And that one laid into the box. Looked to be a bit of a cross. It got too far out in front. It'll be picked up by Sheriff. Flores trying to work around Numeric on the near sideline. She'll just kick that off of Amelia Walicki. And that's going to be out of bounds off Walicki again. Cougars slowly moving upfield on the sideline here.
Yeah, it's a lot more pesky defense from Walicki than we've kind of seen from the Crusaders so far today. They kind of just are a little bit more laid back, but it seems like they're starting to tighten up a little bit as we continue on.
Yeah, well, that's a poor touch right there from Johnson. And again, the Cougars moving up, down throw-ins on the sideline. That one played into Moran Cruz. Now Flores trying to bring that in from the corner, lays it in. Allie Brown tries to get a shot off, but that's straight into Hecky. Moran Cruz unable to get the rebound, and that'll be cleared out by the Crusaders. Kenworthy trying to show that off, passes it back to Sheriff. Sheriff is going to try to switch sides. That pass a bit behind Wheelock, but Wheelock's able to get there and send it up the sideline to Flores. Cougars have a nice arc going on here, trying to rebound after a squashed offensive attack. I get played in the middle of the field, and that's a loose ball headed towards the middle of the box, and that's a poor first touch from Fernandez. Cougars able to survive, and then a poor shot on goal right there from Amy Benitez.
Yeah, number 12 in white, Fernandez, getting really dangerous right there. That's kind of not exactly the experience that you kind of expect from the senior right there. You expect him to have a little bit better touches right there, especially when you're that close to the keeper.
Absolutely. Plays like that are very, very dangerous ones. Slow, floating balls into the box that should be easy for the defense to clear. But that height, that drop in can always make that first touch a little difficult. And if you misjudge that touch and there's just one attacker who's lurking, ready to take advantage of it, they can take advantage of that, and it instantly becomes a one-on-one with the keeper. Luckily for the Cougars, it was a poor first touch on the part of the Crusaders as well, but that's a very, very important play for the defense that you really have to be able to make every time it occurs out there on the field. Now Moran Cruz trying to work past the defender with a little flick in the air, unable to do so, and that'll get cleared out by York. Kenworthy going to have to work from the far back corner here for the Cougars. That's some space up the sideline. Now we picked off good interception right there from Abby Jones to work her way into the passing lane. Cougars haven't been able to work their way back onto the Crusaders' half of the field in a minute here. Crusaders starting to press a bit more with their offense. As now Wheelock with some space on the near side is going to bring that down, lay it off into the middle to Abby Brown. Now Flores, plenty of space on the near corner. She'll lay that one in, trying to get to Moran Cruz. Not enough on it, though, to get the solid cross. Allie Brown sends it back out to Flores. Flores able to keep it in bounds. And that'll get knocked out of bounds in the corner.
Looks like a deep throw-in for the Cougars here. And that's kind of one of those things that I've been liking out of the CUC so far this year. Just really good passing.
Wheelock tries to send that one into Allie Brown. Now Natalie Flores, high floater into the box. This is a loose ball in the box. That'll get played towards the goal. Here's Allie Brown again. Tries to get a shot off, but she'll get called offsides either way. So the Cougars, good offensive possession. Nothing comes out of it, and the Crusaders are going to have the opportunity to clear.
Really good try right there by the captain. The grad student, Allie Brown, just unable to capitalize.
That's an opportunity you love to create on the offense. So you love to have those crafted, controlled offensive attacks, but if you can get a loose ball that's just bouncing around in the box, those are dangerous. It's unpredictable for you, but more so it's unpredictable for the defense, and that's a much worse position to be in for the defense because a random touch on that ball and it's going somewhere you have no defenders, and you saw that from the Cougars there, almost getting through to Allie Brown in open space right in front of the net.
Yeah, that's one of the things that are very interesting overall with the Cougars, especially with a lackluster offense, I think one of the main things that they kind of exceed and dominate on is just kind of those chaotic possessions where they're able to just be very fortunate and get a couple ricochets around, and then they get a goal out of it. That's actually how Ailey Brown had her first goal of the year, was some chaos and then kind of headered it in.
In the soccer offensively, it's all about taking advantage of opportunities, finishing. It cannot be understated how important that is in soccer, being able to get a good touch on the net the instant you see any kind of opportunity, because you don't know how many opportunities you are going to get in a game. This Cougars team is a game that so far in the season hasn't been getting many opportunities, and they've been getting a lack of production. That's partially due to their shot on goal percentage, only getting about 50% of their shots actually on frame, which is a percentage you would like to be higher. In this game, however, for the Cougars, that stat's been a bit better. They've just been putting up more shots in general, has CUC. And play it up the sideline. The Crusaders able to get it down through the middle third, but unable to get it into the attacking third. And Moran Cruz able to cause enough resistance right there for that loose ball to go to Wheelock. And Wheelock's just going to send that upfield. Johnson looking to shield that one off from Allie Brown. Johnson's going to have to make a pass here. That one's not going to get out of bounds. And she'll take possession and just clear it upfield. But this is a bit of a loose ball now in the middle of the field that, fortunately for Great Lakes, will be cleared out by Carr. Now, Avery Carr, she's been playing back as a defensive mid so far for this Crusaders squad. But you go back to last year, this team that won their region, made it all the way to the national tournament for the NCCAA. Avery Carr was a key component of that, by far the leading scorer for this Crusaders team. 16 goals on the season last year, and for the junior, then sophomore. And she's playing a bit more of a defensive mid. And we've seen, just looking at the stats from this team so far this year, hasn't been putting up outstanding numbers compared to the rest of her team. She leads the team in goals, tied with 4 other players with 2. So she's not getting out far ahead of other players on this squad. And looking with how she's playing defensive mid, that might be due to a changed role in this squad for Carr.
Yeah, that's one of the many differences that you'll see kind of in these lower levels of collegiate athletics, where sometimes it's all about what the program needs. As there's a shot on goal,
and that's
right
a
there.
long shot in on the net. It looks like that came from Allie Farrell, but Brooke Sheriff, great timing on her high point right there to snag that one out of the air. That's a shot you don't see too often. That was really a beautiful shot on goal right there, and some great defense from Concordia's keeper to keep this game scoreless.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things they might have kind of saw on film a little bit. The keeper only at 5'2". Try to attack the upper bar over there. That could be a spot they kind of attack.
There's Izzy Fairless trying to play that one in from the left side, and looked like that actually was intended to be a shot, but it played more like a cross. It got out ahead. Fry able to just grab that one up off the ground right in front of the goal. But Fairless will take possession right back, and then possession will be taken from her by Chelsea Waller. Watch that trickle out of bounds. That'll be a throw-in for the Crusaders. It was actually Chelsea Waller who had that deep shot from outside the box that was saved by Sheriff. And you go back to mentioning Brooke Sheriff's height. Height is a very, very important thing for a keeper. If you can get a keeper who is tall, who has that reach, that's something that any coach will see and be like, yes, I want to craft you into the ultimate keeper, because that reach is such a strong ability. But then you'll see a lot of teams that play with shorter keepers. You looked out there on the Cougars, Brooke Sheriff only standing at 5'2". Height is not everything for a keeper. It's actually more important for that keeper to have good instincts. Instincts is the most important thing for any goalie in soccer, just because of the importance of that first step. And if you're athletic enough to take advantage of good instincts, you can make it work even if you are one of the shorter players on the field. And we've seen that from Brooke Sheriff in her tenure so far as the Cougars keeper this year.
Yeah, that's one of the things that don't necessarily show up on paper when you're recruiting at a showcase or whatnot. It's a lot easier to see the height and the kind of just black and white numbers overall, but you kind of get to watch a couple games from him. That's kind of where the elite recruiting comes from overall.
Soccer in general is a very interesting sport to recruit for, just because you really do have to watch the players that you're recruiting. Your attackers, your midfielders, you can get stats from them, shots, assists, goals, that sort of thing. But you move further back, you look at your defense, especially your defense. There's not really many stats out there for your defense. They'll get an assist once in a while, they'll get a goal once in a while, but there's no real stat for clearance. There's no real stat for making a good stop on defense. It's just something that you do. And the same goes for goalies. Saves is a stat that gets tracked, and it's a very important one. So you're able to track it a bit more with keepers. But like you mentioned, a lot of the keeper position is just having to go out there and watch to see those plays that don't get tracked on the stat sheet, just because so much of soccer can't be told by numbers and letters on a sheet.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Here's a play into the box. Shot on goal right there. Arteaga Vasquez unable to get that one past Fry, and the Cougars trying to make a rebound work here, unable to do so. Throw in Cougars down far on the line, though.
Yeah, very dangerous there for Fry. Doesn't quite get a full bear paw on it, just kind of bodies it up a little bit, and it allows for a potential ricochet. But
played into the box, cleared out by Carr. Kenworthy plays that up to Arteaga. That's going to be played down the middle of the field, well out of the reach of Mila York, however. And that's a poor pass out of the back from the Cougars defense right there. Wheelock unable to get there. That'll go out of bounds. And now the Crusaders, on what looked to be a busted possession on offense, now have possession right down on the box. It'll work out from a throw-in here.
Yeah, just kind of gifted an opportunity overall. Let's see what they're able to do with it.
Benitez lays it out to Numeric. Numeric plays that one into the box, and that'll be headed out the goal line by Fernandez. Corner kick opportunity now for the Crusaders. So they're crafting these opportunities, making opportunities, trying to get something closer to the net. This is one of the best opportunities we've seen for the Crusaders since that long shot from Waller, actually.
Yeah, the corner kicks can be a huge strategic kind of thing overall.
Played into the box. That's a loose ball kind of down towards the front of the net. That'll get played back into the box. Sheriff gets there, knocks it down, but it's a loose ball in front of the net. The Crusaders unable to get a shot off in time. For the Cougars, you are breathing a massive sigh of relief right there. And for the Crusaders, you're kicking yourself, because that was one of the best opportunities you'll get in a game. Loose ball, empty net, and they were unable to do anything with it.
Yeah, Sheriff kind of found herself out of position overall after that first touch, and then chaos just ensued overall. A lot of people in the box, and just those are kind of the opportunities we were talking about earlier, where it's just driving the chaos overall. But it didn't appear as though GLCC's coach was too bothered by it overall, just maintaining composure. And that's kind of one of the things that could be a driving force for being an elite program overall, is just staying under composure no matter the situation, no matter if you're down, up. Tough opportunities or great opportunities, just riding that middle ground.
Absolutely. 23 minutes left in this game as the Cougars make a pair of substitutions here. Now, you mentioned that. Soccer is a really interesting game because of the length of it. You see opportunities like that, and yeah, it's frustrating in the moment, but I mean, look at this game. You still have about over 60 minutes left to go. 60 more minutes to get more opportunities. So if the Crusaders are able to create more of those opportunities and get some balls in the net, they'll be fine. They'll look back on that moment and honestly forget it almost happened. If the Crusaders lose this game or tie it, they'll remember that opportunity and think, man, we could have gotten a goal there. That's a really close opportunity. Soccer's a lot of hindsight 2020. Here's Allie Brown bringing it down the far sideline. Now played into the middle. Arteaga Vasquez from the top of the box tries to play that one into the net, and that'll be snagged right out of the air by Malia Fry.
It's hard to imagine that was their best opportunity of getting a goal right there. Arteaga Vasquez just taking a deep shot overall. Kind of looked like they might have had numbers there. I think they could have pushed a little harder.
Absolutely, and Here's Natalie Flores. That's a great touch to keep that one in bounds. We'll talk some more about that shot from Arteaga Vasquez. Actually, now that it's out of bounds, those are opportunities that you're not going to see too often. A perfect open space right at the top of the box. But you have to decide, are you going to try and get a better opportunity by playing it in, or are you going to take that shot as the Cougar is going to get a corner kick opportunity here? Arteaga Vasquez there took the shot, but if you're going to take a shot there, you're going to want a better shot. It was a weak shot from Vasquez straight at the keeper. You're either going to want that one to get over to the side, get somewhere that's hard for the keeper to get to, or put some power on it. That shot had neither, but the Cougars, they've been able to create continued opportunities from that opportunity, and here's a corner kick opportunity. Great shot for the Cougars here. Played in by Saudivar, and that's going to be low into the box. Poor first touch from the Crusaders, and great instincts right there from Malia Fry. Allie Brown had the ball just land right at her feet in front of the goal. Fry looked like she thought that ball had gotten cleared out. That was a very, very poor touch from Avery Carr, first player to get to that one on a low play in.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about chaos. Holy cow. We're seeing it all day so far in the first half.
Short play in from Arteaga Vasquez to Fernandez. Back to Arteaga Vasquez. Played into the middle of the box. Someone's trying to bring it down. Natalie Flores plays that one into the middle. Finally cleared out by the Crusaders.
Yeah,
we're going to get a handball, and that is going to be a penalty, it looks like, for the Cougars. Handball called on the Crusaders, and the best opportunity of the day for either team now. Loose ball in the box. Always a chance they're going to get a random handball like that. Never really intentional from the defense, but the Cougars are not complaining right now. Taking the penalty for the Cougars is Pamela Saudivar. And Saudivar taking a long run up here. Into the back of the net. Goal, Cougars. Pamela Saudivar puts the Cougars on the board, 1-0. They take advantage of the penalty kick. And Concordia Chicago strikes first and is out to an early lead here. 1-0, 20 minutes to go in the first half.
Wow, what a spot right there from Saudivar. Just kind of putting it wherever they can't reach it. That's one of the downsides of having a little shorter goalkeeper like we talked about. That's one of the downsides right there. It's only the instincts can only take you so far.
Absolutely. Having good instincts, as it looks like we'll have I would imagine it's a water break now after that goal. It is a hot day here in River Forest, so I'll try and keep these players hydrated in an out-of-conference matchup. Yeah, you mentioned that's a great placement on the penalty kick. That's textbook for the penalty. Coming from, Saudivar actually came from straight behind the ball, didn't take a run up from either side, so she could be going anywhere. Just make good contact, play it hard with power on the ground towards the corner. You'll see that. That's the professional strategy for a penalty kick. Saudivar played it perfectly, and it doesn't matter that Fry is a shorter keeper. You put another foot on her, that's still going to be an incredibly tough play to make just because of the nature of a penalty kick and the difficulty of getting from the middle of the goal all the way over to the far post in that short distance from the penalty spot to the goal.
Yeah, that was kind of just a beautiful spot overall. I think that's one of the things that we're talking about, of just kind of capitalizing on the situations overall. The keeper obviously kind of a victim of that scenario, just not really much they could do, and that's kind of one of those things that show up on the stat sheet where it's like, is that really a fair thing to kind of knock the keeper on? But that's just another great opportunity that the Cougars kind of take out of just those chaotic situations that they keep finding themselves in as we keep moving ourselves forward in this season.
Absolutely. Teams finishing up the water break right here. Cougars, if you're just tuning in, have taken advantage of a handball in the box from the Crusaders. Got a penalty kick that they've converted into a 1-0 lead in what otherwise has been a pretty back-and-forth matchup between these two teams, wouldn't you say, Dave?
I totally agree. I think the Cougars have kind of showcased the offense that they've been sort of lackluster in all year, and they've kind of turned over a new leaf today on this weekend in CUC and River Forest. So I kind of like what we're seeing so far in the first 25 minutes of this match.
And we're back underway here in Concordia Stadium. Crusaders play it back before playing it up off the kickoff. We'll now see what it looks like for the Great Lakes Christian College to play from behind. York trying to bring that in central, unable to do so. She'll just lay it off back once again. Here's Avery Carr, unable to get that first touch. Now here's an opportunity for the Cougars. Good defense to just take that opportunity away right from the feet of Itzo Calderon. That's a poor defensive touch from Abby Numerick. Jaya Johnson forced to take possession and try to play it out of the corner here. She'll play it back into Numerick. And get played up middle of the field. Crusaders trying to work past half here, but the Cougars' midfield presence very strong to start off this possession. Hard run into the box. Unable to get there is Amelia Walicki. And looks like we're going to have a foul. And our first card of the day. It goes against Walicki. Hard foul right outside the box right there. Made contact with the Cougar defense as they cleared that one out. So that'll be a free kick for CUC.
Yeah, you got to wonder if that's just a little bit of just temper flare right there. A little frustrated after going down 1-0 and then just taking out a little bit of the aggression, playing a little too hard there.
And it's actually Saudivar who was on the receiving end of that hard foul, that yellow card worthy foul deemed by the officials. Saudivar was the player who scored that penalty kick for the Cougars. In any instance, if you try and play a ball as tough as Walicki did there, and your defense is able to clear that out, and you're just swinging at a defender because you got there a split second late, it's going to be a textbook yellow card every time. It's a risk you take when you choose to be that aggressive. Now Walicki trying to be aggressive on the line here, and actually does force a mistake out of Elle Wheelock. Wheelock kicks that one out of bounds. He tries to play it up the line to Flores. Numerick lays that one in. Now Walicki just going to send that one into the box. Sheriff coming out on it, calling off the defense, and she'll grab that one up. That was a bit of a risky play from Brooke Sheriff right there. Really let that one bounce a while instead of trying to get up there and grab it. Mila York almost able to get there and make some contact with that. But now the Cougars, in response, putting pressure here on the defense, and that's a poor pass in from the far sideline. Crusaders defense now able to disrupt what looks to be a good possession for the Cougars. Now we have a substitution out of the game. Amelia Walicki, after her yellow card, she'll be replaced by Lily Bauman.
Yeah, it looked like Walicki was kind of running out of gas a little bit too. You saw that her just kind of send one towards the keeper a little earlier on. It just kind of looked like her legs are just a little bit fried there after the first 28 minutes of play.
Right out of bounds off Flores. And I mean, perhaps that did contribute to the yellow card as well. You'll see yellow cards in games start to ramp up towards the end of a match, not necessarily because teams are angry, they want to get something out as that ball played back. Sheriff will clear it out. It's more so because you're tired, so you're going to be a bit more reckless. You're going to be a bit more sloppy. You might be trying to make a hard challenge. You see that ball get played away, but you're too tired to pull your leg back, and you just go through with it because you're exhausted, and that results in a yellow card. If Amelia Walicki is a bit fatigued right now, that could be an element of that yellow card, but we're down on the attacking third for the Cougars. Crusaders throwing here from Numerick. She'll play that into Alvarado. Alvarado trying to work that up the middle of the field, try and get past Allie Brown, and she's unable to do so. But the Crusaders working some good passing. Central here, good challenge right there from Hirayama.
Yeah, the Cougars kind of playing a little bit of swarming defense right there. As soon as you get the ball, you feel a couple white jerseys all over you right away.
CUC will swing it around here on defense. Play it up to Natalie Flores, who has some open space in the middle of the field here. Tries to lay it into the box. Can't get it to another Cougar, and the Crusaders defense will have an opportunity to get it out of the defensive third. That's a good play on the sideline right there from Ballman. Able to get it past Wheelock. And now the Crusaders moving into the attacking third. Played into the box by Mila York. And now on the far side is Benitez. Benitez looking for an opportunity back to York. York unable to send that one in. Kenworthy plays it to Brown, plays it to Flores, back to Brown. Plenty of space for Brown, and the Cougars have numbers here as they head downfield. Brown plays it to Flores on the near side of the box. Flores back into the box, but it's a very weak cross from Natalie Flores, and that'll be cleared out. Good play by Jessica Hecky just to send that one out and give the defense of the Crusaders time to get back.
Yeah, really good thought right there between Flores and Brown. Just kind of give and go, almost coast to coast there, just running almost the length of the whole pitch.
And if you're going to make a cross like that for Flores, you would like that to be, if it's not going to be in the air, at least have some more power on it. But the Cougars do so have possession in the attacking third here. Elle Wheelock with some space. She'll look for an option. Plays it off to Reyna, back to Wheelock. Now into the corner. Brown's going to try and get there before it dribbles out of bounds, but it will do so right on the inside of the flag for a goal kick.
Yeah, it looked like we got a couple subs there for the Cougars too. So you'll see Reyna on the near side from our point of view in replacement for Flores.
And both these teams taking advantage of what is a deep bench, and especially deep bench for the Cougars this season. And that's something they have on their past years, is a larger bench. They have a lot of depth over there, like you mentioned. A lot of youth on this team, good recruiting class for Eddie Garza.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Coach Garza focused on a lot this offseason, was kind of having his first, or one of his first kind of full seasons to where he's able to recruit year-round and just kind of not only focus on, of course, winning in the here and now, but also kind of setting up this program for the future.
It honestly feels like deja vu. This is something that we talked about yesterday during the men's soccer game for the Cougars. Both of these programs in a similar spot. Garza in his third year, head coach of the men's team, Brad Callahan in his second year. Both of these teams, though, with coaches who are having recruiting classes for the first time. Jennifer Reyna on the near side, unable to effectively cross that in. That'll be another goal kick for the Crusaders. But yeah, these are both coaches who are starting to see the effects of their first recruiting classes come into play. A men's soccer team that looks a lot stronger this year than they did last year, and then a women's soccer team who is really clearly making progress towards becoming a competitor within the NAC.
Yeah, I think it's a completely different look on the pitch here between the men and women's team of Concordia. I mean, you talk about, when we think about the men's team of last year, a rather lackluster season. I think that's almost giving lackluster a disrespectful thing. They went, I believe, 0-16. It was a tough season overall for the men's team, but they were able to get their first win over Kuiper College a little bit ago, and that was Callahan's first win as the head coach for the Cougars. And I think they're kind of going to spring forward a little bit, but that's for a different time, of course. We're focused on the women's team right now, and they've kind of had a beautiful
played
season.
into the box. Long shot from outside of the box by looks to be Luisa Diaz. And some good defense from the Crusaders, able to kill that threat. But they're going to have one coming right back at them after a foul around the 25.
Yeah, we approached 12 minutes left in the first half. The Cougars, from what I've seen so far, have just had a complete change in the overall attacking scheme. They've just kind of been on the offensive side, kind of doing pressure all day long. And I think it's kind of benefited them a lot, as you see they're up 1-0 with, as I said, under 12 minutes left to go.
It'll be Fernandez taking this free kick. Cougars team prepped up around the edge of the penalty box, and now they'll crash in. Fernandez playing that one in low. That's going to be a corner for the Cougars. Dangerous header. I didn't catch which Crusader it was, but they made the first touch, and it was actually dangerous. That laid it up for a loose ball right in front of the net, one that Fry wouldn't be able to get to before another player.
Yeah, that was a dangerous misdirection by a black jersey. I didn't catch it either, but that's one of those things where that's the chaos nature of the sport overall, where you just kind of everyone just wants to be so aggressive every opportunity they get to the point where it can almost cost them.
Again, it's Cazares taking the corner here for the Cougars. Played in the middle of the field. Loose ball in the middle of the field. And that's going to be a corner, arguably another penalty kick. Very, very close to a handball right in the box for the Crusaders. But the Cougars right back at it with another corner kick here from Cazares. That's a much better corner kick from Cazares. Deflected off the head of Calderon all the way to the back line. And the Cougars going to have to reset their offense. They'll try and work it around the backside here. Play that one in the middle. Brown flicks it up. It's going to be a high bouncer. Fry sends in Hecky to go and get that one.
Yeah, it looked like the keeper kind of wanted to go snatch that ball up that Brown kind of floated up there, but they tried to clear it instead with a header, but
it's still a loose bouncing ball right at the top of the box. The defense really just want to get this out of here, and they finally do. We'll have a whistle blown, player down on the field.
Yeah, that one didn't look too healthy right there. They kind of got sandwiched by two Cougars. Pretty painful for Alvarado, but she looks to be okay.
This will be a good reset opportunity for the Crusaders. Long free kick here. And I kind of want to go back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, the progression from both the men's and women's soccer teams. Focusing on the women, though, they have 3 wins this season. You look back to last season, finished the seasons with 4 wins. Only 3 of those were on the field. One of those was a forfeited win. They've already matched their on-field win total from last year, and they haven't even reached conference play yet. This team is already looking a lot better than they were last year. They're showing strong signs of progress within the program.
Yeah, I think that all stems from the top. Obviously, in my opinion, when you start at the top and everything trickles down, you start with your head coach, your assistants, and then your captains who fall in line with the leaders below them, the upperclassmen, and then you kind of establish that scheme overall, and the players kind of come in and they understand this is what the situation is, this is how we perform. And when you get everybody to buy in overall, that's kind of how you start establishing these better and better seasons. And then you look ahead and then you go from being a rather poor team to being a conference contender they could be this year.
Conference contender led by Allie Brown, who's making a run into the box. Tries to flick that one over to Georgopoulos. A bit far, though. Crusaders able to send that one out of the box. Cougars calling that out of bounds, but it'll be a live play well down the field towards Concordia's side. It'll get played all the way back to Brooke Sheriff. Haven't said that name in a while. Brooke Sheriff been in a bit of a lull as this Crusaders offense has been struggling in the past part of this game. And that's actually something to note. We haven't really seen much out of this Crusaders offense since the Cougars scored their first goal of the day. This has been the quietest stretch for the Great Lakes Christian College offense, and it's when they're trailing. That's not a combination of events that you want to have happen out there for a team.
Yeah, it's hard to be a high-flying, high-powered offense when you're on the losing side and you have to be a little bit more cautious with your play. And I think that's one of the things that you're starting to see, where you're not getting as many touches on the offensive side of the pitch, just because you do have to play a little bit more passive, especially with so much time left in the match. Last thing you want to do is fall down 2-0 going into the locker room.
And we'll get a pair of substitutions for the Cougars, 1 substitution for the Crusaders. And one of those players who's just been subbed in is Larita Hymas. Takes a throw in there. That'll be headed out of bounds by another one of those players who has just subbed in, Michelle Marecki. And Marecki will throw that one in down the sideline, played towards the box by Bauman. That's a dangerous possession. Kenworthy held that as long as she could, and Hymas' feet slide out from under her as she loses contact with the field on that kick right there. Crusaders working from the near sideline. Good challenge by Allie Brown to create some chaos and cause a loose ball. Cougars going to try and flip field. Played towards the edge of the box. That one will get inside of the penalty box. Brooke Sheriff able to corral it, and she'll just kind of let it sit there and let everyone catch a breather before picking it up.
Yeah, this is one of the things that is you'll see a lot from Sheriff overall. Is she's big on kind of being a part of the game overall, biting off as much time as possible. Very interesting that she's doing it in the first half, though. I see it's a 1-0 lead, but when you're facing a strong offense, sometimes maybe that's time that you might want later on in the match.
I was going to say, you have a team 5 minutes left in the first half. Yes, you get to catch a break, but it's still the first half. And that was a dangerous time-saving technique. She held that ball on the ground until there was a challenge 5 feet away from her. You don't see that very often at all in the first half. Back when I played soccer, I played goalie the entire time I did, and anytime I would start to do time-saving stuff, you lay on top of the ball, you keep it at your feet in the first half, the coach is always like, no, hold that off for the second half. Then again, that was high school. We're at the college level now, and maybe that's something the Cougars are okay with. They trust their defense enough that, like you said, if they might need that time in the second half, they won't, because they trust their defense enough to hold the gap where it is.
Yeah, you kind of see how the Cougars have been this season. A lot of their games when they win are just kind of pretty low-scoring affairs where they just try to win 1-0 or sneak a second goal and win 2-0. It's kind of just, all right, let's get ahead and then just hold them the rest of the way, just kind of bite off time, just kind of roll clock, roll as much as they can.
4 minutes to go here in the first half in Concordia Stadium. Concordia Chicago leads 1-0 over the Crusaders, courtesy of a penalty kick goal scored by Pamela Saudivar. And now the Cougars have a throw-in on the far sideline. Actually, that's a free kick, and this is actually a good opportunity for the Cougars. Fernandez will be told to scooch it back a bit. Tried to cheat up about 5 yards right there, but still good opportunity for the Cougars here as they load the line of the penalty box. Players crash, kick is up, and that's a short kick. Charging on it is Hecky, and Hecky will clear that one towards the far sideline. So it'll be a throw-in taken by Fernandez from the same spot where she just took a free kick. Jessica Hecky able to play that one up the far sideline, and that one will roll a ways up the field, getting all the way down to the defensive third for CUC. It'll head out of bounds. It'll be a Cougar throw-in, but well down on their side of the field.
Yeah, as we kind of wind down in these final 3 minutes of the first half, it's kind of, you're starting to see everybody just slow down a little bit. Not as much aggression overall, just kind of, it almost appears as though they're just preparing to go into halftime overall.
And for the Cougars, it makes sense, but for Great Lakes side, this is a section of the half where you really want to press your advantage because the Cougars are tired. Really try and leave it all out on the field. You're going to get a 15-minute break in just 2 minutes. So press up. Try and force an advantage here. Try and draw even before you head to the locker room. And they might do that here, 3-on-3. Play up to the line, crossed in. Sheriff able to snag that one out of the air on the post. Mila York unable to get it anywhere besides where Sheriff was. And the Cougars hold this game as a 1-0 gap. Good save from Brooke Sheriff right there.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been a little tougher angle than they were originally anticipating, as it just went right into the keeper's chest right there.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that tough angle. I think Mila York had her sights set on getting that shot. She saw the open field, she saw the ball, she saw the goal, she realized where she was, and she just started seeing red. She was going to take that shot on goal. I would almost have liked to see her cross that ball in a bit more in that scenario, but in the heat of the moment, that shot is a perfectly fine play, and if Brooke Sheriff makes a mistake, that one might slip past her and get all the way into the net.
Yeah, that's an interesting strategy you bring up, almost kind of looking for an error on the defensive side rather than just overall power play from her.
Long throw from Hymas. And that'll eventually be cleared out by Abby Numerick. Kenworthy now taking a challenge from York, and that is going to be not a foul. Cougars now playing upfield. Into the box. Dangerous defense right there from Maddie Kodish. Kind of let that one bounce a bit, almost let Georgopoulos get all the way to it and make a play towards the net. That's going to be a poor touch from Cazares. Now Fernandez trying to work her way in, and that'll get disrupted. The Crusaders really just packing the box, playing defense here with 15 seconds to go. And the Cougars look to be content with letting that go to 10 seconds to go. And they'll hold the ball on the defensive half of the field. Hymas plays that one into the open field, and then that will be it for the first half here in River Forest. Cougars lead 1-0 over the Crusaders. Strong first half from Concordia Chicago gives them the advantage headed into the locker room. Great Lakes Christian College will try to figure out how to bounce back. The Cougars will try to figure out how to solidify this lead in the second half. As these two teams take a 15-minute break here, we'll take a break here on the Cougar Sports Network as well. We'll be back soon for the remainder of the game here for Cougar Soccer.
Concordia University Chicago is a Christ-centered Lutheran university where truth, freedom, and vocation form students for lives of influence and service for the common good. Our university offers a wide variety of undergraduate and graduate degree options that are available in person and online. That means we have a program designed for you. Whether you're a high school student, an adult returning to complete your degree, or someone looking to enhance your credentials and prepare for career growth. As a member of this university community, you'll also find support in your spiritual and personal life so you can grow in the faith and discover ways to serve others. To start your next journey with us, visit cuchicago.edu today.
CUC nursing student and choose to stand tall for healing at a university that places Christ at the center and embraces teaching students to live a life fulfilled by purpose and meaning. Concordia University Chicago's new Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree is an innovative and rigorous 4-year program that will prepare you to rise to the daily challenges of a rewarding nursing career and serve a greater cause. Our newly built modern simulation center features 4 distinct spaces: a skills attainment lab, multi-specialty intensive care spaces, a health assessment learning center, and a simulated home environment. due to our close proximity to many world-class teaching hospitals, CUC's clinical rotations offer an abundance of diverse and real-world experiences. Learn more about earning your BSN at a Christ-centered university today.
Hey, I'm Monica here at Concordia University Chicago, and we're here outside of Concordia Hall. Concordia Hall is the university's newest residence hall, right on the edge of campus, perfect for students who want to explore the nearby downtown of Oak Park and River Forest. The flexible suite-style living in fully furnished bedrooms lets students choose what works best for them. Every floor is complete with a community lounge and full common kitchen, with a kitchenette, microwave, sink, and refrigerator. The first floor offers the Victory Lounge, connecting to 2 additional residence halls, with no shortage of ways to relax. You're also right next to an open, outdoor plaza, better known as Victory Lane. So now we're here in Concordia Hall's suite-style dorm room, and this is a really nice place to just hang out and chill. And since it's so big, there's plenty of room to spread out and do your homework and just relax. So now making our way into one of the bedrooms, there's plenty of space in this room for you and your roommate. A lot of times students will move the desks so that they've got their separate study space, but my roommate and I, we get along really well, so we can just work together here in the same space. Sometimes I like doing art as well, as you can see by the painting here. It's a 16 by 10 feet space, and most rooms on campus are 10 by 12 feet. So it's really nice to have a little extra space to work with here in Concordia Hall. So this hall is super close to the chapel and the Kennedy Community Center, which has the new Crossroads Dining Hall. So the location is super convenient. And I really love the city scene too. The location here is the closest on campus to the Oak Park River Forest downtown area, which has a ton of great stores and restaurants. Speaking of the city scene, I adore the view from this lounge because you can see the Chicago skyline right there. Concordia Hall at Concordia University Chicago.
Down through the ages, God has called and equipped people to make a real difference in the lives of others. To lead, to heal, to stand tall. For 160 years, Concordia University Chicago has been preparing the next generation of leaders with the wisdom, faith, and values to make an impact in the world, to share the gifts God gave them and answer the call to a life fulfilled by purpose and truth. To be living examples of what it means to live with Christ at the center as we serve others. Because at CUC, we don't run away from adversity, we go towards it. We don't shrink from our faith, we lead with it. We are teachers, caregivers, and musicians, scientists, pastors, and business leaders, unshakable pillars of strength and integrity who serve a cause greater than ourselves. And the world needs us now more than ever. Learn how a degree from Concordia University Chicago can help you be the pillar the world needs to stand for something greater. The only question is, are you ready to stand tall?
is a Christ-centered Lutheran university where truth, freedom, and vocation form students for lives of influence and service for the common good. Our university offers a wide variety of undergraduate and graduate degree options that are available in person and online. That means we have a program designed for you. Whether you're a high school student, an adult returning to complete your degree, or someone looking to enhance your credentials and prepare for career growth. As a member of this university community, you'll also find support in your spiritual and personal life so you can grow in the faith and discover ways to serve others. To start your next journey with us, visit cuchicago.edu today.
Welcome back, Cougar Nation, to Concordia Stadium here on Saturday, September 14th in River Forest, Illinois, for the second half of Cougar women's soccer. Concordia Chicago leads 1-0 over the visiting Great Lakes Christian College Crusaders. That one goal coming off of a penalty kick goal from Pamela Saudivar for the Cougars. And that's a lead the Cougars are going to look to hold here in the second half of what's been a very, very strong game for CUC so far.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you're going to want to look for in this second half is just how do the Cougars kind of still perform? Do they stay on the aggressive side early, or do they just kind of go into back to their typical ways of just kind of play back more, a little more careful and cautious, and just kind of let the time just roll out and just kind of keep looking over at the scoreboard every few minutes, just seeing how much time do we got left, how much longer do we got. It's going to be an interesting half overall, and let's see how the Crusaders respond and just what kind of adjustments they make in the locker room.
Absolutely. Something you're talking about over the half was kind of the corner kicks. The Cougars have a lot more of them, 4-1 in favor of the Cougars over Great Lakes, and that can be indicative of where the ball's been, and so much of this game has been played in the Cougars' attacking third, the defensive third for the Crusaders, because the Cougars' offensive pressure has been so good so far. They're not allowing the Cougars to create opportunities on offense because they're creating so many of their own opportunities. 8 shots, which already well surpasses their shots per game average for this season. As here's a great run downfield for the Cougars. Across in central, and a poor touch right there. Artiega Vasquez unable to make good contact, skies that one over the goal.
Pretty solid centering pass there overall, but I want to go back to what you were kind of mentioning about the shots compared to how they've been this season. It's kind of just been a tale of two different days, earlier this season and then kind of how they have been today. It's just, we kind of keep mentioning it's just very interesting how they just have kind of developed overall, and if we're going to see that in the second half, and then as we look down the road later this season, especially once we get into conference play, how they're going to react. Because obviously we don't know too much about this program. GLCC they're kind of different than what we're used to in D3, just as they're an NCCAA D2 school.
It's so a great opportunity, experience either way for this team. I think what we're seeing from the Cougars mostly today is figuring out how to turn the solid defense that you base your entire game off of into an aggressive offense. They've done a great job of that so far. Here's another downfield opportunity for the Cougars. Calderon trying to chase that one down to the corner, unable to do so before it gets cleared out. And Wheelock's going to try to take possession back. That'll get headed out of bounds. Cougar throw-in is just on the cusp of the attacking third. Calderon heads that one towards the box. Hecky plays that one upfield. Wheelock playing it towards the sideline. Still trying to find an option. Now Brown trying to get there, and the Crusaders looking to flip the field here. Played well upfield by York now. That's going to get chased down by Kenworthy. Plays it back to Sheriff, and Sheriff's just going to boot that one up to midfield. Flores heading that one down to the ground, chasing it towards the corner. Trying to keep it on the offensive third, and she does that very well, forcing Hecky to just kick that one out of bounds. And now the Cougars are going to have a throw-in down well into the attacking third. Fernandez plays that one into Calderon. Calderon just kicks that one off of Hecky. Another throw-in for the Cougars. That one played into Flores. To Fernandez. Fernandez playing that one in towards the box. Into the box. Cross the field. Allie Brown. And it's off the football goalpost. Allie Brown one-on-one with Fry. Just too much on it.
Yeah, I think that's one of those situations where it's not all about the power. Just find your spot. You got the right angle and just a little bit more technique-based. And I think that one might haunt her for a little bit here as they still have the lead for now, but if the Crusaders kind of come back into this match, it's going to be one that they definitely look back at a little bit.
Yeah, and it looked right there. Allie Brown, she wanted to just power that one straight past Fry, but she also wanted to just chip it over Fry, and you can't do both of those. You have to pick on one, and she wasn't able to instinctually decide on one into the box. You're going to get a foul there. Brooke Sheriff unable to secure it. Amy Benitez going through Sheriff trying to get to a ball, and that's going to be a foul, taking out the keeper. And that'll be a free kick. Cougars catch a break right there.
Yeah, you go back to that shot on goal, or the attempted shot they had from Allie Brown. Not something that you kind of expect to see out of the grad student with a lot of experience under her belt. She kind of just, as you said, she couldn't decide if she wanted to chip it or kind of power it through, and it just caught a little bit too much of the laces right there if she was going for the power shot, and I think that kind of is what the issue was right there.
But getting an opportunity like that is a great sign early on here for the Cougars, as now it's the Crusaders trying to play a long ball. Brooke Sheriff comes out on it, able to pick it up. The Cougars wanted a foul earlier there.
Yeah, Saldivar kind of palms up there towards the official, just kind of want to know what's going on there. But we're going to play on. No issues gone either way as Allie Brown comes chasing up the field.
Allie Brown plays that one into the box. Reyna unable to secure the possession. The Cougars are going to have to reset out of the box here. Hirayama plays it to Fernandez. Fernandez trying to find a whip path in the middle of the field. She'll dribble backwards. Wheelock loses possession. Benitez taking it up central. Trying to get past Hirayama. Unable to do so. Hirayama now taking possession for the Cougars. And these two teams just knocking it back and forth right now. One of them is going to have to get it past midfield at some point. The Cougars going to play it back to their defense, try and reset now.
Yeah, a little bit of ping pong there, but looks like the Crusaders kind of come away with it.
And the passes from both these teams just getting out ahead of their players. But now a great opportunity for the Crusaders. Mila York working towards the far side, trying to get around Hirayama, and she's going to be forced to dribble back. She'll play it off towards Jones. Jones plays it into Benitez. Benitez going to look like she would play it back to Jones, but the Cougars shut down that pathway. And a long ball in, no one there to make a play on it, and Sheriff will come out and grab it. Now, something we haven't actually talked about, looking at these Great Lakes Christian jerseys, they don't look all that remarkable to start with. They have the logo on the front. They're black. They have numbers. Those are chrome numbers. Those aren't matte. They're not even glossy. Those are chrome numbers. That's something that you don't really see all that often, not just from a college soccer team, but from any soccer team. It's a very, very unique uniform choice for this team.
Yeah, very unique. It's possible that they kind of were awarded those after kind of the strong history that their programs had, and they just kind of feel like they're more of like a excellence-based program and just kind of want to rock like a trophy-style uniform almost. But the keeper's rocking that highlighter yellow just as the same as the CUC keeper is.
And I do have to say, I actually really do like the chrome lettering, especially on a day like today. It's very sunny, so you're getting that reflection. And actually, it makes it very, very easy to read the numbers on the jerseys, for one. But two, it just does add a unique sort of touch that you don't really get from a matte number.
Yeah, I can't imagine that their thought process when they designed the jerseys was to try and help out the SID department. But it works all the same for us, and I think it's a very nice touch.
Absolutely is. That's a long ball played down the far sideline. Played back to Sheriff, and Sheriff will just clear that one up the field once again. Brown plays that up central. Cotterone unable to get to it. And the Cougars working down the far sideline could have had a handball. They'll continue to play it down the sideline, though, and that'll head out of bounds. Cougars throw in here.
Starting to see a little bit more muscle on the far side overall from the Cougars. Wheelock just kind of muscling the Crusaders off the ball, just taking advantage of the strength and power that she's got.
Played into the box towards Flores. Flores able to get there. Good jump on that from Hecky. On ball played, no one there. Kenworthy, plenty of space to play it back to Sheriff. And the Cougars will swing it around the backside, and Sheriff, bad pass right there behind Wheelock. Wheelock's unable to secure it, and that'll head out of bounds. So the Cougars gifting Grace an offensive possession here on some miscues from the defensive movement.
Yeah, we'll see if that has any kind of impact on this match, but
Benitez just trips up on the ball herself there. Now the Cougars going to try and take advantage of a fast break here. Calderon going 1-on-3, trying to charge down on Hecky.
Allie Brown just kind of bumping shoulders with everybody, just trying to get a touch.
And both of these teams playing a bit more chaotic in this half than they did at the start of the first half. Part of that's going to be the fatigue setting on. It's the second half. Soccer is a very stamina needy game. You're running around a lot, you're moving around a lot, and there are no breaks. And I think part of that actually may be why we're starting to see some more physical play rather than technical play here, because now that both teams are getting tired, you're going to be trying to simply just overpower the other team because it's going to be easier to do so now that they're tired.
Yeah, I think one of the main issues too is the substitution factor as well. If you want to kind of explain what that kind of entails as far as what the differences are between soccer as far as like in the substitution format compared to a sport like basketball or something like that.
Yeah, so at this level, D3 college soccer actually operates similarly to basketball. You can sub in on any stoppage of play. There are no limits. In professional soccer, you do have limits. You can only use a limited number of substitutions. That doesn't exist at this level. So we've seen these teams use substitutions quite a bit, try and get fresh legs out there. The difference, the real difference is the length of the game and the effectiveness of those substitutions. Larger field, a full 90 minutes, no breaks, no timeouts that you can call to reset and catch a breather on. You have to play through. And I think we've seen the Cougars, they've been making a lot of substitutions, so have the Crusaders, but at some point, your players are going to get tired no matter how many substitutions you use, especially since you do have some players you have to keep out there. The Cougars, they're not going to pull Allie Brown unless they absolutely have to. You want to have your captain out there on the field. So the fatigue is a natural part of soccer. It's why conditioning is such an important part of soccer, just because you have to be able to keep up your energy for a full 90 plus.
Yeah, I think that's why you'll catch some of the defenders also walking in a lot of situations too, just kind of preserving their energy overall, just trying to stay on the field as long as possible. Just at the end of the day, you want your stars out there, as you said. If you kind of have to earn that pink stripe around the bicep, and I think that one of the ways is by showing that you can perform for 90 minutes or however long you got in the tank.
Fernandez plays it up to Flores. That's Kenzie Adard getting a bit too physical with Natalie Flores there, picking up a foul. So the Cougars will play a new possession starting from the near sideline. Fernandez trying to work into some open space now. Cougars struggling to get it past midfield here. Is holding on the defense. Now that's a poor miscue right there from El Wheelock. Crusaders now charging towards the box. Poor touch from Benitez.
Yeah, one of the main differences you're seeing, especially from the Cougars, is compared to the first half, is it's a lot less needle threading. They're kind of just being a lot less technical with all their kind of passes they're making. It's very sloppy. They're kind of turning into butchers rather than surgeons, or it's kind of just, they're just kind of being very sloppy overall, and I think that could come back to bite them if they don't kind of switch up rather quickly.
Cougars defense putting up a strong wall, however. Right now, Crusaders unable to get into the box, unable to work around the Cougars. And there's a poor charge from Jaya Johnson. Misses the ball. Now the Cougars going 3-on-3. Calderon tries to send the through ball to Artiega Vasquez and is just unable to do so, straight into the feet of the defender. So the Cougars miss an opportunity, but they'll be able to create another one right here as they'll have a throw-in following a pair of substitutions. Calderon herself getting subbed off for Ariana Rodriguez.
Yeah, with 30 minutes left, you're definitely starting to see why they need more substitution. You're seeing a lot of hands on hips, a lot of hunching over, just trying to conserve as much energy as possible during those few stoppages of play that they get.
There is Rodriguez receiving that throw-in, but a soft pass to Wheelock's going to be picked off. Benitez trying to switch the field here, doing it all herself. And that'll finally get cleared out by the Cougars defense. A good combination of defense from Wheelock and Sadivar there. Cougars now able to switch onto the attacking half. That'll be a throw-in over to the Crusaders. Both teams did think it was a Cougars throw-in there. And both these teams will catch a breather as they switch possession. Kenworthy stepping up on that one, called to do so by Sadivar. Now get played in the box, and now get all the way to Sheriff. Sheriff will play it at her feet. And she'll just hold it there for a minute before picking it up. She'll roll it out to Kenworthy, and that's a rollout in a high-pressure situation here. Cougars going with some Pep Guardiola football now.
Yeah, I think GLCC might be catching on a little earlier than Sheriff would want as to what her kind of time waste management looks like early on. She kind of showed that in the first half a little bit. Just sometimes she'll kind of want to keep the ball at her feet a little longer, hands on the knees, just kind of waiting for them to come pressure her before she picks it up.
That's going to be a foul called on Mia Hirayama. Getting a bit too physical on the near sideline for the officials' liking. That'll be a free kick for Great Lakes and an opportunity to send this one into the Cougars' defensive third. Jaya Johnson will take the free kick, as she usually does on these defensive free kicks.
Yeah, Hirayama's definitely has been earning her stripes early on this year as a freshman from Hawaii. Just kind of, we talked about her a little bit earlier. She's one of those players that's always on the aggressive end, always hard charging no matter what. She seems like one of those well-conditioned athletes that just never runs out of gas.
Cougars have flipped the field effectively right here. They're back into the attacking third now. Fernandez will take the throw on the near sideline. Right about the 20-yard marker of the football field. 27 minutes to go here in the game. Cougars still lead 1-0 over the Crusaders. Fernandez lays that one in central to Artiega Vasquez. Played high over to the far side. Marlon Batista takes a tumble. That'll get all the way to the far sideline. Crusaders trying to keep it in bounds to play it upfield. Allie Brown over there keeping it on the Cougars' possession. Back to Bautista. Bautista trying to cross it in. She does so. Punched out by Fry. Into the net. Goal! CUC. Sophia Casares. Great opportunity taken right there to chip that one over the keeper, Fry, as she came out of the net a bit too much following the rebound, and the Cougars will take a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, you could see she was very animated over that goal, very exciting. Kind of puts them in a rather strong hold right here as they take a 2-0 lead with about 27 minutes left to play.
Now the Cougars a large advantage. Great Lakes Christian College very much on the back foot now. And there's a reason Sophia Casares is a bit animated about that one. That's her first goal of the season for the Cougars. Finding the back of the net for the first time in 2024.
I believe that would be the first goal of her career as well then, as a collegiate athlete. Very exciting. Now you're starting to see the GLCC backup keeper get warmed up on the sideline. We'll see what that looks like overall, if anything comes with that.
Cougars just holding a defensive possession now. They're content with playing a little triangle passing drill right now. Fernandez working up the near side. Plays it to Artiega Vasquez in the middle. Back over to Fernandez. Fernandez has some open room. Bit of a poor first touch, though. That's going to allow the defender to get right on her. Back in the middle to Artiega Vasquez. Artiega Vasquez looking to switch sides over to Allie Brown. Allie Brown now taking it up the middle. Straight into 4 defenders. That'll get kicked all the way back out to the far side. Bautista trying to rein it in, trying to create a cross here. And a bit of a poor touch is going to send that one out all the way to the top. And a long boot from Hirayama is going to sky over the crossbar. That'll be a goal kick for Malia Fry, who is not going to take it. Malia Fry is getting subbed out of the game now for Caroline Hoistra. Great Lakes Christian College down 2, going to their backup keeper. They'll take Fry out of the game, give her a bit of a rest as they finish out the last 25 minutes of this match. Caroline Hoistra, the other keeper on this squad, just over 53 minutes of game time seen this season coming into today.
Yeah, we'll see what that looks like, whether it's just kind of a rest up before conference play for them, or if it's a strategical thing as they try to get back into this match.
Way down the far sideline towards Brown. Brown, she's going to be able to get there. She'll have some space in the corner. Going to try and work around Jaya Johnson. She'll lay that one in, trying to get to Casares, but unable to do so cleanly, and that'll get tipped out the goal line for a corner kick. That's a very interesting play from the Crusaders defense. From up here, it looked like a player could have gotten a foot on that one and cleared it out instead of allowing another Cougars corner kick.
Yeah, I think one of the main things that you've seen so far today from the Cougars corner kicks is they've had a handful of them, is just something like that where it's just kind of floated into the box, try to get some chaos, not necessarily too much of a design play out of it.
And from way up top, picking up the garbage, it's Saudivar who sends that one wide of the goal. This will be out of bounds on a goal kick once again for the Crusaders, who have been on the back foot for pretty much the entirety of this second half. The Cougars offense not letting up on the pressure. As we'll get a whistle blown, and we will get another water break here in River Forest. It's a bit of a hot day on the west side of Chicago. 84 degrees, mostly sunny right now in the suburbs. And these teams looking to stay hydrated, looking to not have anyone get hurt, injured, sick. So you might as well take some water breaks.
Yeah, I think now that it's kind of been a commanding lead so far for the Cougars, you're starting to see a lot more players get warmed up on both sides for substitution purposes, get some more experience. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but the Cougars have a very youthful bench overall. A lot of players that Coach Garza brought in that are going to be looking to play a lot as we look towards the future of the end of this throughout this season as well as the next 2-3 years. So we'll kind of see what those players provide, but so far in this match, it looks like a bunch of them will be coming in.
As you look out on this turf field here in Concordia Stadium, you see the yellow soccer lines. That's what we're playing on right now, but you'll also see that football field out there, and that football field is going to get its first action of the season right here this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Cougar football starting it off their home opener, taking on Manchester University later today at 2:30 p.m. That'll be live here on the Cougar Sports Network. But for now, we're locked in on Cougar women's soccer. They lead 2-0 over the Crate Lake Christian College Crusaders with just over 23 minutes to go here in the second half. Elsewhere, in what is a very action-packed day of athletics for the Cougars, women's tennis has already been in action over on the tennis courts here in River Forest, taking on Marian University. Men's cross country and women's cross country, both visiting Concordia University, Wisconsin, up in Wisconsin for a cross country meet today. The men started at 11, the women started at 12. We have women's soccer taking place right here, right now in River Forest on the football field. We mentioned the Concordia Chicago football team taking on a Manchester University later this afternoon, right here in River Forest as well. And Cougar women's volleyball taking part in a tournament out in Wheaton this weekend. They're taking on Lawrence University starting at 1:30 p.m. and then later this afternoon taking on the host Wheaton College Thunder themselves.
Yeah, the women's volleyball team have a nice invitational just down the road at Wheaton. It'll be an interesting day overall for them, as it's a very, very interesting day overall, I guess, for Cougar sports. A lot of action this weekend.
And that women's volleyball team coming off of a 3-0 sweep win last night in their first game of the Invitational, taking on Beloit College. That team's on a 4-game win streak. They're 4-3 now on the season, so women's volleyball is hot here at Concordia Chicago right now.
Yeah, just simmering definitely for sure. After a kind of a tough road trip to start the season, they've kind of seems like they've started to figure stuff out with Coach Palmer.
And now the Crusaders charging down. Brooke Sheriff going to clear that one out at the top of the box. Barreling down on that one is Lorelei Logan for the Crusaders. And Logan will take it once again at the top of the box. She'll play it over to Waller. Waller crossing that in to Logan. But it's a bit too far ahead of Logan. That'll be a loose ball in the box. It'll get cleared out by the Cougars. Now get converted to a goal kick. Kenzie Adder trying to play that one back into the box, but not getting the contact she wanted, and she'll send it well out of the goal line.
Yeah, pretty booming shot. I wouldn't call it a shot necessarily, but pretty booming kick overall, just sending it way out of play.
Cougars will play this one out from the box, and there's some miscommunication between El Wheelock and Bautista. Now Wheelock bringing it in central, trying to get to Hirayama, but it's a bit too far ahead. So the Cougars getting a lot of loose balls, but able to continue to make it work here. They've pushed up onto the attacking half. Crusaders will finally retake possession and start to work down to the attacking third. Great run here for Logan, but she's going to be unable to get there before it heads out the goal line. Great creation of an opportunity there for the Crusaders, but they're unable to make anything out of it. And this Crusaders team starting to really show those signs of fatigue. You look over at the benches right now, both teams on their feet, but the Crusaders bench is looking a bit more sparse, and that's due to the numbers of these two teams. The Cougars very much have the numbers advantage on this Great Lakes Christian squad. They have a much deeper bench than the Crusaders, and that allows them to tap into that bench a bit more and get some fresh legs out there while the Crusaders start to run out of energy.
Yeah, it's very kind of a interesting day overall from what you're seeing from the Crusaders. They've kind of not necessarily showcased the prolific Titan-like program that they've had the last few years. It's what you saw on paper. It isn't really quite matching what we're seeing today. Obviously a really good test for the Cougars, and they've kind of stood up to that and then some.
Yeah, and that run into the box right there was stood up by Caroline Hoistra, just out in front of Marlon Bautista. And Hoistra will just punt that one out to midfield. Dropping back on it is Sadivar. She'll play it to Kenworthy, who plays that over to Flores. Cougars playing a long ball in. This one to Casares. Head out of bounds. Casares said it was tipped by the Crusaders. The officials agree, and that's going to be a throw-in for the Cougars. 20 minutes to go here in River Forest. Concordia Chicago leads 2-0 in what's been a very productive day for them. They'll try and add on to that productivity here. That'll get laid into Casares, back to Fernandez, into the box. No one gets a foot on it, and it'll get all the way to Hoistra. Well, you look at that offensive productivity, Dave, and 13 shots so far today for the Cougars, 6 on goal. Coming in today, they were averaging 5.8 shots per game, and they've already more than doubled that today against Great Lakes Christian. The Cougars really finding a way to make that offensive productivity happen here in River Forest today.
Absolutely. I think the name of the game, too, is just kind of – this has just been a great non-conference day for the Cougars, as this will kind of catapult them into an action, as we talked about. And on Wednesday, they're going to face Rockford to start off their conference play. It'll be kind of interesting to see how this kind of carries over. Obviously, you have a handful of days off where they want to use that to rest, recover, kind of set up the game plan for what it's going to look like overall. It's going to be obviously a strong test for the Cougars as they start off, but we're going to have to see kind of what it looks like for them, and just been a really great day today, though.
Absolutely. As you head into action, this is a Cougars team picked to finish 10th in the conference, headed into the conference season within the NAC. Illinois Tech, your overwhelming favorite in the conference this year, picking up 21 first-place votes. Concordia Chicago right on the bottom of those teams that are going to be fighting for a playoff spot. But they're hoping for a lot more this season. There's some whistles blown down on the goal line. That'll be a foul. Getting a bit too physical down on the goal line. But, yeah, this Cougars team, they're looking to really make a statement going into the NAC play this year. Really try and show that they are now competitive, that they can be threatening. And I would have to say the goal for this team this year, make it to the conference tournament. Get into the conference tournament, show that coming off of a year that you only had 3 wins, that this team really is on the up and up.
Yeah, and then obviously the things you look at when you're able to be competitive in all these matches, especially in conference play, you kind of look down the road a little bit further. When you're able to get that playoff experience, it can really be beneficial, especially for a young team like the women's soccer team is here. When you're able to kind of experience that playoff kind of factors, you're able to kind of break out the nervous jitters that you might experience in your first 1 or 2 matches of playoffs. But if you get kind of that experience under your belt as a underclassman, now you're kind of putting yourself in a great spot for down the road to where you're able to change your goals from getting into the tournament to, let's say, winning a couple or winning the entire overall tournament. And I think that's kind of what they're looking at right now, where of course they can win it, try to win it this year, but at the end of the day, it's all about building that experience, building that kind of resume overall as a program.
This will be a throw-in around midfield for the Crusaders. Short throw-in right to the feet of Avery Carr. Carr, a player who played a massive role on this team last year. Haven't seen much from her today, and the Crusaders will have another throw-in right from that same spot once again. I'd like to highlight some parts of this Cougars team. So far, they lead 2-0. They're looking to pick up another shutout here today. That would be their 4th shutout win of the season. the 4th shutout of the season for goalie Brooke Sheriff, who's really had a remarkable season at the net for the Cougars, picking up 3 shutouts, looking to pick up a 4th today if the Cougars can hold this lead in the next 16 minutes. She already has 2 NAC Player of the Week honors this year, as there's a long shot from Logan trying to make a play, trying to just force an opportunity really right there.
Yeah, I think Sheriff kind of slid under the limelight last year. She was the backup to the, I believe, all-conference keeper they had last year. It's definitely an interesting situation where this is one of the things that you love if you're Coach Garza, where it's like when you already have a strong player at a position, it's a lot easier to stay strong at that position as the upperclassmen are able to teach the underclassmen as to what it looks like to be a dominant force at that position. And then that's how you kind of build the strong program and stay talent-wise and technique-wise. You're able to stay in that position for a long amount of years. And that's kind of where you see a lot of programs that are able to excel year in and year out. Like when you look at the NAC conference and you see MSOE and IIT, they kind of have been just performing for years and years overall. And I think that's one of the things that you see is they just kind of are able to excel year in and year out.
Cougars now playing into the offensive third. Natalie Flores trying to work around a defender, and she'll play that in the middle. Got cleared out by Avery Carr. And coming into the day, Brooke Sheriff had a really remarkable save percentage on the season. .850 save percentage for the keeper. As now Allie Brown off the post. She'll get her own rebound, but she'll be unable to do anything there. Allie Brown so close to picking up the Cougars' 3rd goal of the day, but the Cougars' offense will have to reset. That was a great run from the right side for Allie Brown.
Yeah, beautiful attempt. Nearly tucked it perfectly. Just missed it as it hit that crossbar. I believe it, or it might have been the right bar, excuse me.
And the time is stopped, whistle blown by the referee, looking to go over and check out Jaya Johnson, who looks to be walking with a little bit of a limp right now. He signals to the Great Lakes sideline. Do you want to sub? They'll say no. Johnson will tough it out, as there's a long throw into the box for the Cougars. That'll get cleared out for a moment, sent back in towards the box. And here's a loose ball at the top of the box, and that'll get sent out of the goal line by Julissa Diaz.
Kind of an underwhelming attempt there from what it was looking like it could have been, but that left foot, just a little bit of a shank there.
And in the position that Diaz was in, you're not really expecting to get that opportunity all that often. From where you are, balls usually won't bounce all the way over there, as that goal kick goes straight into a competitive spot. Natalie Flores challenging immediately, and the Cougars will take possession. Calderon playing that one into Georgopoulos. Georgopoulos trying to get there, trying to keep that in bounds, and she'll force a kick out the goal line. That'll be another corner kick for the Cougars. The Cougars really just forcing these opportunities to happen by keeping the ball in this offensive third so much. 6th corner kick of the day incoming for the Cougars.
Yeah, Brooke Sheriff's almost getting bored over there. You just kind of see her, you take a look over, you see her kind of stretching out a couple times, just kind of hanging out. Not a lot of action on her side of the pitch.
That out to the top of the net. Fernandez skies that one. That'd be 3 points if she was playing in the game this afternoon. Unfortunately, she's playing the wrong game out there right now, so that would be a goal kick for the Crusaders. But again, this Cougars team really creating those opportunities very well today, and that's such a great sign for this squad that struggled to do so all season. Crusaders trying to get past midfield, but they will be unable to do so there. Amelia Walicki straight into the legs of the defender. Now Georgopoulos charging that one down into the corner, and she'll be unable to get there, and that'll be a goal kick for the Crusaders. We're seeing a lot of balls go out this goal line here. Late in the second half, the Cougars just constantly keeping the ball on this far side, and the Crusaders really starting to see that fatigue set in for Great Lakes.
Yeah, the Cougars have just been excelling overall today on the idea of pressure, just really performing overall as to what it takes to be successful.
Lorelei Logan dropping back for the goal kick. She'll send it all the way up to midfield. Benitez sends it over to Waller. Waller bringing it to the meal. Through ball to Benitez. Great idea. Great positioning from Fernandez to slow that play up and allow Kenworthy to get there and send it out of bounds. So that will be a deep throw in here for Great Lakes Christian. Down around the goal line of the football field. Taking it will be Abby Numerick. Numerick, short throw in to Benitez. And that'll get kicked up into the air by Natalie Flores. Loose ball around the corner. And a long header from Avery Carr is going to head all the way out the goal line for a Cougars goal kick. Here's another pair of substitutions for Great Lakes Christian. Just getting some fresh legs out onto the field as we start to reach the 10-minute mark in the second half.
Yeah, if the Crusaders want any chance coming back in this game, though, that is going to be a tough part of having subs constantly in and out. Is the kind of new rule is if the winning team, is bringing in subs, they'll stop the clock for that, but the losing team, rather, clock just keeps on running the whole time, which the Cougars are obviously fine with. As that burned a healthy chunk of time, as we'll get another sub here.
And I have to say, back from my days on a soccer team, one of the worst parts of trailing late in a game where you have to make substitutions is having to make those substitutions, because it just feels like every bit of momentum you start to build is going to get disrupted because you're changing the personnel who's out on the field again and again just because your team is so tired. So not only are you on the back foot, not only do you have to press to try and come back, you have to constantly be changing the personnel who can do it. And you never really have a sure feeling of reliability just because everyone is so tired at that point of the match.
Absolutely. I think, as we're going to get another sub here for the Cougars, but clock stops for them, and Sheriff looks ready to go.
Cougars playing it out of the back once again. That's a short pass from Kenworthy. And the Crusaders almost able to create a chance. They'll have a throw-in on the near sideline.
Very dangerous play right there from Kenworthy. Rather than clearing it, just almost handing it right back to him.
That throw-in into the box. Allie Brown will clear it out. Calderon chasing. And that'll deflect off of Calderon. That should be a Great Lakes throw-in, but they're going to give it to CUC.
Yeah, it looked like it went off Calderon for sure, but
it definitely did go off of Calderon, but it was on the side of her that no official could see. So Cougars catch a break right there.
Yeah, it looks like we might have had a little bit better perspective on that one from our point of view.
And neither team too upset about it, and the Crusaders starting to put immediate pressure on that possession of the Cougars. Flores trying to work up the near sideline. She'll make her way around Numerick, cut back, cross it in. Logan's on it. Poor touch. Calderon's unable to get something there.
Yeah, if the Crusaders want any chance of getting back into this game, they're going to have to start flipping the field rather quickly. It's going to have to stay on the offensive side for them for the rest of this match.
Crusaders and Amy Benitez working to the central part of the field. Walicki now crossing that one in, and that cross got out ahead of her, and that heads out of bounds for a Cougars goal kick.
It's another time-wasting strategy you'll see out of Sheriff. Instead of just grabbing the ball, it's right behind the goal. She's kind of going to ask for one, just kind of take her time, really slowly, just finding her positioning, because that's going to burn off almost 30 seconds.
That was a really weak roll from the from the ball personnel of the here at Concordia Stadium, barely making its way to the penalty box. And the Cougars, of course, aren't complaining, but I remember my days, again, like I mentioned, trailing. You see a ball roll back there. The Crusaders are going to be like, come on, you can roll that a bit harder. You can roll that a bit faster. You can get that all the way to the goal.
I could be mistaken, but I believe that game day crew member was also formerly a part of the women's soccer program here, so she's definitely still a fan, as she's helping the team out, doing her best, make sure they get a win here.
That roll's going to get all the way to the goalie box, straight to Sheriff, so no time wasting there. But the Cougars starting to bring in the second team. Large wave of substitutions here for CUC. Half the team heads off, half the team comes on.
Yeah, that looked like a complete wave, just almost entirely fresh, other than the keeper and someone on the far side, I believe.
And that's really just a play to just press the dagger in on this Great Lakes team. Show them you're this confident you're going to send in that wave of second teamers. And who actually aren't all second teamers. Luciana Moran-Cruz, who started this game for the Cougars, is now back into the game at the 9 spot up top. And I think this just goes to go. I refer to this as the Cougars sending in their second teamers. Most of these are players who saw playing time for a good amount of minutes earlier this game. And this is really just a good example of that depth that this Cougars team has this year. As there is a long attempt in the direction of the goal from Brianna Wood, unable to get it on frame. Sheriff will watch it roll out the back of the net, and she'll call for a ball from the sideline to make that goal kick. And the Crusaders, they're actually keeping possession on the Cougars' side of the field so far, but they're unable to get anything really on frame. These balls just keep heading out the goal line, and Brooke Sheriff is more than willing to take those opportunities to waste some clock. That's a poor clearance from Kenworthy. That'll get played in towards the net, and the Cougars' defense miscommunicates. Elle Wheelock got a foot on it trying to clear out. Brooke Sheriff just wanted her to let it go, and that almost got deflected into the net. Brooke Sheriff having to redirect and dive on top of it.
Yeah, that looked almost like a goalie drill from practice, just her teammates almost making it a little tougher on her, forcing her to see kind of that fast twitch she's got going to save what would have been the goal to cut the lead in half.
You can't say that Brooke Sheriff's having a completely boring final stretch of this match. Ball's been on her side of the field for the majority of the past few minutes, having to make a diving save right there. Now, loose ball is going to end up getting sent to the middle of the field. Walicki coming out on that, tapping it straight to Jada York. Coming at that is Reyna. Good chip from Moran-Cruz right there. Cougars will have a throw-in on the far sideline. Just under 5 minutes to go here in River Forest. Cougars leading 2-0. And they have possession on the far side. That's a high flip up right there. That'll get sent to the middle of the field. Wood and Hirayama charge on it. Wood's able to get the touch on it. Crusaders now with a fast break. They don't have numbers. They'll try and have speed, but they don't have either. Kenworthy clears that one out with a through ball that gets too far ahead. Crusaders watch that run roll all the way out of bounds and take the throw in here. Both of these teams showing some late signs of fatigue, but all in all on the day, Cougars offense not showing much signs of fatigue. Great Lakes Christian, not a horrible statistical day from the offense if you ignore the goals aspect. 11 shots, 6 shots on goal. That's not a bad day. The problem with that is none of those shots made it into the back of the net. On the Cougars' end, 18 shots, 6 shots on goal. Same number of shots on goal as the Crusaders. So that's not a great stat that you want to have for the Cougars. A very, very low shot on goal percentage today, under 50% for CUC. Brooke Sheriff engaging in some time-wasting activities down in the penalty box now. And she'll hold this ball as long as she can. Take a dribble, take another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and she'll finally punt it off. Now it makes it to midfield, touchdown by Rivera. Now Walicki is going to take it herself, try and find an opening, try and work past Rivera. And she can't do so there. Rivera touches it out of bounds, so throw in Crusaders. Numeric to take it. And that's going to get deflected out of bounds. Foul called either way on Mila York, taking out Malika Kenworthy. So that shot on goal percentage for the Cougars. Not great today, but it still feels like they've dominated. Got a goal off a penalty kick, got one goal in live play. They've dominated because even if those shots haven't been getting on frame, they've been getting up there either way. This possession game from the Cougars has been very good. They've been very aggressive on pressing the advantage on offense and flipping the field from a good defensive stand into an offensive attack, as we see them try and do so once again here. And that's really been key, and that's really going to have to be the way the Cougars are going to want to play this season if they want to win more games and be competitive in conference, is perfect flipping the field from a defensive stand to do a quick, fast-paced offensive possession, not just playing kickball, turning it over because you're trying to play the loose ball game. Having that possession that then forces your opponent to then drop back, fall onto the back foot, and you start to feel a bit more in control. You gain some momentum, and the game feels in your favor. So much of this game is felt in the Cougars' favor because of that reason. And they'll go up against tougher teams than Great Lakes Christian this year, but this is a very, very important experience for the Cougars out there today, just to see and get a feel for how they're going to want to play if they're going to want to win games in conference.
I totally agree, Jonathan. I think the other thing that's going to benefit them, too, is based on the way their schedule looks, they won't have to play some of the elite of the elite teams in the NAC until a little bit farther down the road when you look at the programs like IIT and MSOE who have had really outstanding seasons last year. They were the top two. They won't have to see them until they're about halfway or later into conference play. So they're going to get even more experience under the belt for the young program, and they're going to really get to kind of show off and kind of perform and kind of understand the way they want their offense to work. As this was obviously a great showing today, and really almost nearly like a perfect match for them. And as obviously you can always nitpick, but this was exactly what I bet Coach Garza wanted out of today.
Absolutely. Team getting a strong backbone from their veteran performers. They got some freshman impact too. Sophia Cazares picking up her first career goal as a Concordia Chicago Cougar. That one played down the sideline. That'll get knocked out of bounds for another Cougars throw-in. And we'll see if they throw it back in before time expires. 5 seconds remaining. That'll head into the corner. And the Crusaders let that one dribble out. Ball game. Cougars win here in River Forest 2-0 over the Great Lakes Christian College Crusaders. Strong finish to the out-of-conference part of this schedule for the Cougars. They'll head into conference play with a 4-3 record coming off of a strong 2-0 win here at home today over the Great Lakes Christian College Crusaders.
Yeah, just a really good day at the pitch overall for the Cougars. Really a strong game, and I think it should set up a little bit of momentum as they go into conference play overall. I don't think you could ask for much more out of this weekend from Coach Garza.
Absolutely not. Look at some of your standout players this game. Brooke Sheriff for the Cougars, 6 saves, no goals allowed in a full 90 minutes played. On the offensive end for the Cougars, obviously Sophia Cazares picking up her first career goal as a Concordia Chicago Cougar. Allie Brown in the midfield today, playing a very large role in keeping up that presence and that offensive threat that the Cougars had over the Crusaders today.
Yeah, I think one of the main things that you kind of look at overall, obviously a little bit smaller sample size, only played 7 games, but they do a really great job of defending the home turf. They're 4-0 on the home turf now, but we'll see what that kind of looks like when they get a little deeper. They obviously have a couple of road games to start off conference play, and then we'll see what it looks like when they come back here in a week or so. 2 weeks, excuse me.
Absolutely. The Concordia Chicago Cougars, like you mentioned, Dave, headed into Naction. They'll take on Rockford this upcoming Wednesday. On Great Lakes side, they will move on from here and then head on to take the University of St. Mary Woods after a week-long break. So after a cup action-packed last week for the Crusaders. They'll have a very nice break before they get back up in action as they draw closer to the important part of their schedule, taking on NCCAA play. But that'll do it here in River Forest. Cougars win 2-0. Don't go away just yet, though. We'll have a post-game interview with head coach of the Cougars, Eddie Garza, in just a moment. What's up, Cougar Nation? I'm Jonathan Shear with the Cougar Sports Network, down here with head coach of Cougar Women's Soccer Program, Eddie Garza. Coach Garza, great win for your squad today. Took down Great Lakes Christian 2-0. And it was a day that was really defined by a strong offensive presence by this Cougars team. Kept the ball in the attacking third for most of the match, put up 18 shots, far surpassing their usual shots per game average. So coming into this game, how did you guys kind of focus on that? Was an increase at offensive presence the focus coming into this game?
Yes, that's always the focus in every game. We want to, get the ball in the back of the net. I think with our possession, that's how we're going to create those opportunities. So the focus was have the ball, move the ball, find the gaps, and then capitalize on those opportunities, which is how, we had that higher volume of shots.
Absolutely, capitalizing on those opportunities. Your first goal came off of a penalty kick. Second goal coming off of a rebound. So your team really did just focus on those opportunities and finish very well, getting that ball on frame. You used the bench a lot today as well. That was another thing, very much going into the depth that your team has with that deep bench. Was that the plan going into today, just continually have some fresh legs out there to keep up a high pace?
Yeah, that factors into it. We do have a strong. We have a lot of depth. To your point, to the point that you made earlier. I like using, especially on a hot day like this, the numbers, so that we can continue to put the pressure on the other team, start to break them down, and again to create more and more of those opportunities. We have a young squad, so these games also provide the opportunity for those players to develop, get experience, and for the future of the program.
Absolutely. This team on the up and up right now, already picking up 4 wins and surpassing their win total from last year, and that's before conference plays even started. Now, your team is starting up conference play this next week, heading into NAC play, taking on Rockford University this upcoming Wednesday. So as you go into conference play, what are you really focusing on your team? You look at the way you guys won today against GLCC. Is this kind of the roadmap for how you're looking to win games in conference?
It is a roadmap. We want to keep possession. That will control the game, both offensively and defensive. I feel the best defense is the best attack, so having the ball will really dictate the tempo. Now going into conference play, we evaluate the matchup. We see these teams every year, so understanding their style and how we can use our style to break them down, dictate the tempo is the goal. But yeah, I think we've set in the non-conference schedule, we set a good roadmap of how we want to play.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach Garza, for coming on right here after a great win today. Cougars take down the GLCC Crusaders 2-0 right here in River Forest. That'll do it for Cougar women's soccer today, but that's not it for Cougars athletics. As you see right behind us, football field getting set up. Cougars football will be starting at 2:30, and you can follow all of that action live here on the Cougar Sports Network. Thank you for joining us on the Cougar Sports Network, and make sure to join us later today for more Cougar athletics.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.